Lesson 16, Variables. Well, in this lesson, we're going to take a look at an important concept that the macro recorder will never use. You'll never get this in a recorded macro. A variable is a name that holds a single value. Now, in the old days, like if you ever took a class in BASIC or Fortran or Pascal, you used variable names like X or Y or J or K. But in VBA, we can use meaningful variable names that help to tell you what the variable is used for. All right, so let's take a look at an example here. I have a series of invoices and I'm the guy that has to pay the commissions. And our commission plan is just, it was written by someone, well, you know the guy, right? I mean, it's just a horrible commission plan. It has all of these different rules. And frankly, I just want to get the commissions calculated. I don't want to try and build the formulas with all the logic. As I go through here, I look at each invoice and I have to decide which mix of products. And a certain mix of products, then we pay one commission rate, and another mix of products we pay another commission rate. And rather than make these individual decisions, I want to create two macros. One macro where we did sell a service plan, another macro for where we didn't sell a service plan. The service plan is product Z, so as I'm going through, it's very easy for me to just look at it and know which we want to do. And so the macro that I write, I'm going to invoke from a shortcut key, and I'm going to press either Control A to do the regular plan, or, well, Control S is right next to A, so I'll use S to do the service plan commission. And the macro basically has to look at where we are and look at the revenue in column E of that row. It has to calculate the commission over in column F of that row, and it has to look one row up from where I started to see if that product is a Z or not. So I basically, I have it all in my head here, and this would be much easier to do using variables. Let's get started. We'll go to Developer. We'll go to Visual Basic. Now, this particular workbook does not have any macros, so we're going to insert a new module, and we get a blank macro, and I'll create a new macro. All macros start with the word sub, and I'll just call it Commission Plan A. All right, so what do I want to do? First thing I want to do is I want to figure out which row we happen to be on. So this row equals active cell dot row. Dot row is a property that tells us which row we happen to be on. This amount equals range. Well, let's see, where were the amounts? The amounts were over in column E, and I'm going to concatenate the variable called this row. So if I happen to run this when I'm in row 17, the first line will assign the number 17 to this row, and then the second line will look in column E, row 17, to figure out what amount there is. Commission Plan A is for when there is no service plan sold. So in this case, it's relatively easy. Commission amount equals this amount times 0.015. We pay 1.5% commission. And then I'll write that amount back out to column F. Range F ampersand this row. We could say dot value. Turns out the dot value is the default property, so I can leave that off. Equals commission amount. Well, that's it. That's Commission Plan A. That's the easy one. Now, Commission Plan S, the service commission plan, is a bit harder, but it still has a lot of the same concepts. So I'm going to start with the exact same macro. I'll select all those cells and press Control C to copy, and then paste again. Now, right now, we have two macros with the same name. That's bad. I have to make sure to change the name. Okay, so we have this row, this amount. I need to figure out what the service amount was. The service amount is equal to range E and this row minus 1. The service plan is always the last item on the invoice. And the commission amount calculation is different. We actually pay 25% of the service plan and then 1.5% of what's left. So I can create a little variable here on the fly called what's left equals this amount minus service amount, and then the commission amount. now that we have all these variables set up, commission amount is equal to service amount times 0.25 plus what's left times 0.015, and we write it back out to column F. Very nice that that last line of code is the same as before. We're basically just going through and tweaking what's different. Okay, so in this case, we have in the first macro a variable called this row and another variable called this amount. In the second macro, we add new variables on the fly called service amount and what's left. I like those names. It's better than using X, Y, Z, and I, because we can understand sort of what's going on. Now, in real life, I'll probably come back and say, what's left? What the heck does that mean? And so I would want to add a comment here. Comments start with an apostrophe. Figure out the total amount less the service amount. And see, the comments always show up in green. So that note hopefully will help me figure out what I was doing with what's left later on. All right, so we have our two macros here. Very easy to go through and set these up. Could we have done this without variables? Yes, probably we could have. But it's easier for me to think about the problem in step-by-step pieces. We need to figure out how much the revenue was, how much the service plan was, what's left after I deduct the service plan from the revenue, and then do the calculation and then write it back to column F. Certainly there would be ways where we could take more time and come up with a macro that would, figure out the whole thing, but right now it solves our problem very quickly. All right, now we need to assign shortcut keys to these, and we do that back in Excel. So I press Alt-Tab to jump back to Excel. We go into the Macros dialog here on the Developer tab. Commission Plan A, I'll go into Options and say that that's shortcut key Control-A. Commission Plan S, Options, shortcut key Control-S. All right, and we don't have to run anything. Okay, so now here's the big test. We should always save before we test anything. All right, so here we go. This one had no service plan, so I press Control-A, and we get a number out there. Let's do a quick little test out here just to see how it's working. This divided by that is 0.0. Ah, beautiful. That worked. Okay, great. Now here's one with Commission Plan Z, so I press Control-S. Holy smokes, that number looks completely wrong. I'm paying an $8,000 commission on an $847. Yeah, that cannot be right. Okay, so we're going to delete that one, and we're going to put a breakpoint in our Commission Plan S, and we'll see what's going on. So I come here and I press Control-S again. All right, we'll run a line of code by pressing F8. All right, so this row, let's hover. All right, I'm hovering to get the value from this row, and for whatever reason my computer's low on resources, it's not showing me the value, so I can use the immediate pane. I'll press Control-G for the immediate pane, and I'll say print this row, row 7, print this amount, $847, print service amount, $800. All right, so we'll run the what's left, and down here in the immediate window, I'll ask for print what's left, $47. Okay, so the commission amount equals the service amount. Oh, right there, that's the bug. Why didn't you stop me when I did that? Come on. Service amount times 0.25 and what's left times 0.015. I'm actually pretty confident that's going to solve the problem. So I press F8. Let's just check it here. Print commission amount $200. So 1/4 of the 800 plus 1% of the 4. Yeah, that's about right. All right, so we'll go ahead and let that run. Now that I've solved this, I want to turn off the breakpoint, and we'll come back here. We'll try it again. Control-S, Control-S, and now Control A, and Control A, and Control A, and I can fly through and very quickly just eyeball these and figure out whether to press Control S or Control A. So there you have it, a couple of quick little macros. Those macros made lots of use of variables. The variables had, well, in the case of the service plan one, several different steps that we had to go through, and it just helped to hold on to those values. This row, this amount, service amount, what's left, commission amount, to kind of build through the logic. Now, again, the macro recorder will never, ever record a variable for you. This is always something where, I even thought about this. I said, could I record any part of this macro? Many times I record the first part of the macro and then customize a little bit. This one I said, well, we just need variables right off the bat. There's really nothing that we can do here. With the macro recorder, it's easier just to switch over and create our couple of macros here using variables. All right, so now that's a simple variable, and we've had these kinds of variables in all programming languages. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about something special called an object variable. An object variable is very powerful. It doesn't hold just one value. It can hold many values as well as properties and all sorts of things like that. So I hope you found this lesson helpful, and thanks for watching.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.